gente bella, divina, fabulosa, what's good, what's poppin'? It's your girl, Amara, la Negra, and welcome to another episode, to another show of Exactly Amara. Ya ustedes saben, mi amor, su negrita del alma. This is a production of iHeart, and I am so grateful for them because they allow me to have this podcast where I can just be open, honest, transparent with you guys, have all types of crazy conversations, educational conversations, fun conversations, a little bit of everything. So thank you so much for tuning in as usual. And don't forget to subscribe and rate us and share this podcast with all your friends and family, all the people that you know. If you think that it's funny, if you think that it's informative, if you think that you know somebody that can relate to the topic, feel free to share this podcast and don't be stingy. Also, leave comments. I always love to sit there and just read everything that you guys have to say, whether it's good or bad. Or if you want something specific, like I'm going through a situation or I want to hear about this, dale, write it in there. We're going to check it out and we're going to make it happen. So, today's episode, it's about lessons that can be learned from your ex, or rather better, the lessons that I learned from my ex. And to talk about it, look, I don't know if to feel excited, depressed, or confused. Pero I needed como que el balance. El balance to my energy is my producer, my friend, colleague, toda la vaina, Alex. Alex, are you in here?
I'm so glad I'm here because the beginning of that sounded like, hey, am I bringing her down? Am I depressing Amara right now? She's like, I need him to bring me back down.
I need you to bring the balance to this because whenever you hear the word ex, you are ready, like you're honestly always ready to be in the defense mode. Well, no, it depends how soon it was. It depends who it was. It depends how you guys broke up. It depends on many things. But
I mean, hey, I'm still friends with a lot of exes, Amara.
Really?
Like, we have some really great friends. We'll talk about that towards the later part of the episode, but I'm,
Yeah?
I don't have one ex that I am not
Have you
friends
ever gone back to an ex? Like you guys broke up and then you went back to them?
No. Every single time we got together, we ended things, but we still remained really good friends.
No. I want all my exes to disappear. Like, why are you still breathing? Why are you still here? Like, what?
Why?
What's the point? You know what I'm saying? You've already done enough damage. It's time for you to go. But
oh my gosh.
Anywho, I mean, go out of my life. If you're still here in the world damaging other women, that's on you. Pero,
correct. Yeah, that's a problem.
I just want you to disappear out of my life and never see you again. And if so, I want to see you doing terrible so I can look at you and be like, you see what I'm saying? Karma's a bitch. Pero anywho,
yeah.
Let's get to these
you know
questions.
What? Yeah, I wanted to know, Amara, when did you really start dating? When did you jump into the dating scene? How old were you when you knew you were on your very first date?
I don't know because does lunch count as a date?
Yeah, that's a date. If you're sitting there talking and
yeah, but I'm like,
there's
I'm
plenty of lunch
in
dates.
High school, like you're in high school, whatever. Like, look,
you know what? Yeah, because that is your world.
Yeah,
that was where you were in. So as a teenager, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. As a teenager, do you remember your very first date / relationship and breakup in that world that you lived in?
I remember. Oh my God, this is so terrible. I remember having like high school dates, but it was more like, listen, on fourth period, we're going to sit together in the same table, okay? And then we would have that half an hour of eating together, whatever, and then we went our separate ways. We never did anything, but to me at that moment, that was like a big thing. We're sitting together in the lunch table or whatever. And then, later on in life, I did date my teacher, but that's another conversation. But yeah, like in the dating scene, I think I kind of, I started later on, qué sé yo, the end of high school or something like that.
So more towards the ending of your teens.
Yeah, the ending of my
20s?
teens, the ending of my teens, because everything else, I think it was just kind of cute. I wouldn't consider it like dating. I just thought it was cute. Pero, yeah.
Because you also could break up in high school. If you grab a pen from someone who, the person you're dating thought you were flirting with because you grabbed their pen. Breakups in high school hurt.
Yes.
I remember breaking up with my girlfriend at the time, and we were dating. We were high school sweethearts. And everyone came out of the woodwork. People I never even talked to, jocks,
Yeah.
cheerleaders, everything were like, we're so sorry to hear, but I'm like, what? What is
Yeah,
happening
no,
right
it's
now?
okay when you first start finding out what love is and when you start liking someone, the beginning of those breakups is really like the most hurtful ones ever. So I totally get, I get it. But I'll say this much. I'll say that looking back, like if I really had to como auto estudiarme, auto analizarme, looking back into my dating life, I've made the worst choices ever and I haven't gotten any better. Some people just aren't good at making choices when it comes to their significant other. And I also always think that that also comes with childhood traumas. You end up just picking the wrong person just because you want affection or because you want to be loved. And you can see all the red flags and then you'll still stick around because you're just looking to fill that, that empty spot. So
So moving away from your teenage years, because it sounds like you were just kind of like, okay, cool, I'm gonna
yeah,
date
and
and
then
do
I
this and
also
do
dated
that. There's
girls.
nothing really. There wasn't really nothing there to learn except you were experimenting and seeing what you wanted. So let me ask you something. You said that throughout the years you've made mistakes and you kind of fall back on that blade
Yeah,
again over and over and over
yeah,
again. So this has been happening since you were in your 20s up to
yeah.
now. What are some of the things that you think you know that you've learned, but you continue to just put them aside and make the mistake over
Ay,
again?
mijo. Like when you look at the guy, you can already smell it. You can smell when they're little players. You can smell,
It's just a walking red
yeah,
flag.
when they're red flags, when they're too much into themselves, when they are talking to too many women, when they break their neck to look at the girl that's walking by or whatever. There's many red flags that you see, and then you try to convince yourself that I'm just gonna let him be himself. I don't want to put too many pressure, too much pressure. If he's dating me, it's because he really likes me. He doesn't have to be with me, so I guess. And you create these like excuses yourselves to forgive bad behavior.
That's that I find that that's something that a lot of people do. They find an excuse and just exactly the way you said it to remove that bad behavior and think that something
Or
might
you blame
change. And
yourself,
that's
or you
hard.
blame yourself. Like anytime something goes wrong, and it's something that women do for the most part. Like it's funny because when a man breaks up with a girl, or let's say reverse. When a girl breaks up with a guy, he'll automatically say, "Oh, she crazy," or "There's something wrong with her," or da da da. It's always the opposite person that you blame. Women, for the most part, if a man breaks up with us, we're like, what did I do wrong? There must be something wrong with me. I must have pushed him away. So it's like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to see where it's coming
So
from.
is that something that you've learned from your relationships where a guy has gone out and done that and said, "Oh my God, Amada's crazy," like blah blah
Yeah, they
blah?
try to make you feel like, oh, okay, you got problems. You got problems, or you got self-esteem problems, or you got insecurities because you just peeped the red flag. And I also believe that women, for the most part, we give a lot of warnings. We give a lot of warnings before we give up on something. Like when a woman is over something, that means that she's already tried, she's already spoken this, that. She gave all her warnings. A lot of guys don't actually pay attention to them or don't think that that day is ever going to come. They kind of get comfortable. So, yeah, I've seen my warnings.
So can pretty much say that for you for yourself here, do you see the person first and not your expectations, or do you reverse that? Do you have expectations of that person and then start to see things develop with that person in front of you?
Unfortunately, I feel that sometimes I do have expectations for them because I like build a bears. I like build a
You
guy.
want to train them.
I want to train you like a puppy. I can fix you. Like you have so much potential. I can fix this. And that's the biggest mistake as women, as men, is being in relationships with people that we feel that we can fix them. You have to accept people for who they are as they are. And that's just what it is. They're not going to change. They can evolve from being who they are, but they're not going to change. And that has been my biggest mistake. I've always dated men that I feel that I can change, that I can make better, and it hasn't worked out.
So have you not trusted your intuition in all of these mishaps, or
I've
have you
trusted
just
it.
disregarded
I've
it?
trusted it. I just disregarded it because deep down inside, when a guy is no good, or when you shouldn't date this person. Like this person seems like trouble. Like whenever they say, "Oh, I'm single," you know, you're single. Like you mean today, like for
Oh
now,
my
or
God.
like you're really single. I don't know. You could be dating them and you could see suspicious movements, the calls, that I got to go outside to pick up this phone call, or I don't know. You're always.
And these are all things you've learned throughout the years from your exes in your life.
Yeah, basically, because the only way you can learn these things is through your own personal experience. Like, no matter how much people tell you, no hagas esto, esto lo otro, tú aprendes por experiencia.
And how many would you say in a number of
Yeah,
off the top of your head, exes wise, boys and girls, because you've explained on the show before that you've dated or seen
yeah.
women. Um, where do you see number wise? How many of these exes you think you can count that have taught you a lesson or you've learned something from
All of
them that
them.
will make you
All
better?
of
All of
them.
them,
De
huh?
todo se aprende y de todo el mundo se aprende. Mira, from one, I learned don't be so financially open. As a woman, when you're so
Mm.
financially open, to me, there's nothing wrong. Como que no importa. If I make, qué sé yo, $50,000, I'll be like, oh my God, babe, I'm so excited. I just got this opportunity. I made 50 grand. This other person might not look, especially if they don't make as much money as you do. That's another one that I learned. They look at you with like, oh, you got money. So now you're no longer, paying for dinners or putting up money because you feel like, well, you got it. Don't be financially open. Two, definitely learn that don't ever date anybody. And I used to like it because anytime I see those movies or I see people that, nosotros nos hicimos juntos. We worked together and we built this empire. I always wanted to build an empire with somebody. But then I realized times have changed and things have changed and not everybody's the same. When you date someone that has less than you do, especially being a woman, there's always a sense of competition. Whether they tell you or not, deep down inside, there's always a sense of like, si ella hizo tanto, I gotta do tanto. If she's driving a Maserati, I gotta drive a Bentley. There's always that sense of competition. Definitely learned that. I learned.
Do you count that as a problem, a break in communication within the relationship where you maybe are expressing too much or too little? How do you see that when you in the communication of in
I
a
know that they say
relationship?
that you should be completely open with your partner. After my experiences in life today, I would say you shouldn't. I feel that no matter what, you should still preserve some things for yourself, and always be clear on the fact that you're two separate individuals. You have you, I have me, we have us. But you can't lose yourself in the midst of that, and that also includes financially. We can have an account together, and we both have to have our individual things. So you can't express everything that you have, everything that you own. I just don't think that is healthy. And it should be, but I don't think that is healthy.
So let me ask you something. Where did it go wrong for you? How come you have not been able to pick up these patterns? Or have you and you just ignore them? The patterns of these certain lessons that you've
I don't
learned.
realize that I am following a pattern till after I'm in it. After I'm in it is when I realize, damn it, I did it again. I did the build a bear, the fix, make a guy. The with the oh, he has potential, he's so great, and now I like feel like my mom was right. My mom always says, "Tiene que buscarte un hombre que ya tenga lo suyo together because you already have your stuff together, or at least for the most part, you're more put together than a lot of women out there." So you have to find somebody that's gonna lift you up, and I'm always trying to lift other people up. So no, I'm not doing that anymore. Sorry.
And what about if you were to talk to someone, or have you been in a situation where the person is trying to fix themselves? Is that a red flag for you, or is it something that you could think you could take on and be helpful with?
No, Bobby, when you finish working on yourself, holla at me. ¿Tú me entiendes? When you feel that you got your life together, entonces talk to me, because I did that for a very long time. And what ends up happening, ladies, tell me if I'm right or wrong. For the most part, girls like me that are fixers, that you want to fix men and you want to build them, you end up building them for the next bitch. You end up building them for the next woman because after you get them when their confidence is low, you let them know how amazing they are. You clean them up. Tú me entiendes, you fix them up. Y ya después, as soon as they know that, mi amor, ellos cogen la calle. The same thing happens with guys that get girls that are, que tan feita, right? You got money. You get her boobs done. You get her 360 lipo, her BBL, hair done, expensive bags. You start taking her to expensive dinners that she's never been to, surrounding her around different environments of people. Y ya, mi amor, ella se comienza a sentir como que, you know what? You're trash. I can do this without you. Entonces they forget where they started. So
That's kind of hard, right? Like sometimes when you're trying to gauge someone and learning about them, you really don't know upfront because a lot of people won't be upfront if they're fixing themselves, right? And that, I would think that from your past exes, did you have one or two or three maybe that you knew were going through something like that, or were you always the one to want to build the guy?
No, and in some occasions I didn't know. You start seeing it later on because a lot of people, and that's another thing. Guys, ladies, gens, stop doing that. Like, if you don't got it, just don't have it. Stop trying to pretend in the beginning. You show like that character, like the good side of you. De que I'm so perfect and de que I don't fart, and I don't do nothing. No, from the beginning, show me all your flaws. Mira, I wake up late, I'm dirty, I never pick up this, I don't do dishes, no sé cocinar, I don't know. Show me everything. Then you decide, you know what? I think I can deal with this. I can fix this, or I want to, that's cool. But in the beginning, I've had guys that have shown me the moons and the stars y que son perfecto. And later on with time, you start to realize, wait, all of this was a facade. So that's terrible.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah.
I would say sometimes you gotta love yourself a little bit more than to settle with something detrimental that could bring mental breakdown for yourself and more anguish towards the relationship.
Lesson learned. Stop settling. Don't settle. I was a settler. I'm not doing it anymore. Sometimes.
Did you stay with them because you were comfortable?
That happens a lot too. It's like marriages. A lot of times you stick with somebody not because you are in love anymore. It's just because I'm comfortable. I already know you. I don't want to start all over again. You've already seen me naked. You already know everything about me. It's like, all right, I'm just going to stick around and be here. And then you realize you left the best years of your life being with somebody just because you didn't want to put the effort of starting all over again. So don't settle. If you know that you're with somebody that you should be doing better, or this person doesn't deserve you, or you're with someone because you don't want to be by yourself, which is something that happens a lot. You don't want to be lonely. Lo otro. Been there, done that. Don't do it. Not doing it anymore. Not 2022.
What's one of the biggest lessons you've learned from one particular ex? Like, is there someone in your life that stands out the most that you're like, damn, like you always kind of think about it? Everyone has that. Everyone has that one person. They're like, damn, maybe two. But for yourself, is anyone on the back of your mind that you knew that lesson that you learned from that person you cannot commit again? Now you don't have to name them, but the situation itself.
For sure. Lesson learned, whenever they say they're going to pull out, don't listen to them. It's a lie. You got to pull it out yourself. You got to put it out yourself or wrap it up. Don't trust that. Ladies, don't trust it.
Wow.
Woo!
And I'm assuming, I'm not going to assume, but yeah.
Hey, listen,
that is a lesson learned from your younger years, from when you were first learning about sex.
No, but I'll tell you,
and that's crazy.
Or just the tip or la brochita. Don't believe none of that. Don't believe none of it. You can get in trouble. I would say
that goes both ways. Guys out there listening to this podcast, if a girl tells you just do it, it's fine.
Trap you.
Be careful.
I'll also say, hey, I be joking around, but it's real for a lot of people. I would also say, when you start dating someone, if you really like them, make sure that they're single. If they tell you that they're single, I don't think that these days you can no longer just believe the fact that they said that they're single. I need proof and evidence. I need to investigate the situation. If you say that because that's another thing. When guys want to get it, they'll be like, oh, I'm married, but we're separated. We're having problems right now. Things aren't working. I'm getting a divorce, or I'm already a divorce in the process of.
She doesn't
want me. Okay, I need facts and evidence. Please text this bitch right now and say something sweet to her to see how she gonna answer you back. And she says, mi amor, papi, this and that, you're lying. And she's like, what the fuck do you want? Sounds like my girl. All right, so that's it.
But what if you have an ex that actually literally like still, not in the sense of love, but loves you to death, you've had that
I don't know.
Friendship
I need to have some type of proof that you're actually single, because these days everybody says that they're single and they're really not. They just want to have
FaceTime me and walk around your house.
FaceTime me and walk around your house. Open all the drawers. Can you please open your medicine cabinet? Let me see.
Open your closet.
Is there an extra toothbrush? As a matter of fact, ladies, here's another one. When you go to the shower, do you have some Bed Bath & Beyond jelly fruity shit? No, that's a sign you're not using that.
That's part of being Metro, bro. What's wrong with the fruity stuff?
Something is off. Do you have some girly pink shaver or something? I need to know before I really put my feelings into it, because you can't trust these days. And that's the thing. People be having these double lives. I just feel like, be honest. Look, if you're just...
So you could say lesson learned, maybe? Is that
well, yeah, that's most definitely happened to me. But I just feel like, be honest. Because I might still want to fuck with you. If you're honest, if you're like, look, I'm married, all right? I got my wife. I have 10 kids. I got a 9 to 5. This is what it is. Do you still like me? Okay? At least you gave me... At least you gave me an opportunity.
Hey, listen, I'm being honest with you right now, okay? My life is in shambles. I have all this going on.
But, exactly. But you know what? You find me attractive. I find you attractive. We have good chemistry. Do you still want to mess with me? At least you gave me the opportunity. But don't lie to me. Don't make me like you. Don't make me fall into this crap to then later on realize that all of it was a lie. I think that's disrespectful.
And I think that is a great topic for a future episode that we can definitely talk about the double lives and how people live them. I mean, there's people out there who are married, have kids, and are living a completely separate life outside of theirs.
And not just men, women do it too.
Women too, yeah. And the opposite partner in the situation has no idea
especially
of what's going on.
When you do those long distance relationships. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. So yeah. You got to be careful.
Social media, man. You just like one picture and next thing you know, you've been dating for 3 years online.
Pa que lo sepa. That's another thing. Social media is another way of also having a double life. There's guys that wake up every morning to text a little Instagram girlfriend that you've never met, but you cater and give attention to this person more than you do to the person that's sitting next to you every day, that's laying next to you every day. So yeah, these things are important.
Lesson learned from our exes today, ladies and gentlemen. We have learned a lot. You've gotten very, very personal today, which is great for our listeners to understand.
And I'm not saying that all of these situations are mine. I'm just saying overall.
Right. So you've shared enough with us from your personal life that we can
haven't shared nothing.
Relate to what has happened.
What has happened to you? What
Me?
have you learned?
Oh man, this episode would last another 3 days.
Okay, well, at least give me one thing. Give me
at
least one thing that you learned from your ex or exes.
I've learned that I've definitely learned that sometimes you have to trust another. I've had a lot of issues with trust in the past, and it was all in my head. And I've put the blame on other people, thinking and making things up that weren't real, right? So, I went through a bad marriage. I got divorced. Shortly after that, I was dating around, and it kind of played with my mind. Does this person really like me, or who are they talking to, blah, blah, blah. So I played the trick in my own head, and I lost a lot of relationships because of it.
Yeah, trust is a big one. That's true. I've done the same thing you have, that you come up with things in your mind because you just don't trust the other person. It's hard to trust because for you to be like that, that means that somebody had to fuck you up. Like somebody messed up with your trust and now you don't trust. It's like a cycle.
Yeah. So the one thing I've learned from my exes is that I should listen and communicate, which is now sitting here in my 30s, I can tell you that I am a complete different person from the person that I was in my 20s. And I've learned to listen, trust, and just be open, and just not sit here and be closed-minded to what the world has to offer, because that can hurt everyone in the end if you're just like, rah.
And you know what? Something I also learned, I must admit, like on a more positive side, sometimes you have to let go of things. Let go of things. You can't fight. You have to learn how to choose and pick your battles. You can't fight and argue for every single petty little things. Like sometimes, all that argument, all that fighting, all that, sometimes you be nagging and being petty and just looking, that can really mess up a relationship. Do I think the relationships once in a while need a little argument and a little, okay, cool.
Yeah, a little sass to keep it going.
Pero a cada rato estar como que peleando, discutiendo, looking for something, that's super unhealthy. Sometimes you have to know when to back off and be like, you know what?
And
I'm not going to do it today. I'm just going.
And we're Latinos are very fiery.
Yes.
Hispanics, Latinos are very fiery, so we're known to sometimes spark up a little argument over spilled cafe. So that's we gotta look into ourselves and change that sometimes. But we still are who we are. We gotta be proud of it. The last thing I'm gonna leave you here with is, before we get out of here, is we're not responsible for anyone else's happiness but our own.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I do think that in order to make somebody else happy, you have to be happy yourself, which is a very hard thing to do because we try to find our happiness within somebody else. And that goes both ways, Stop looking for this stop looking for your spouse to fulfill, or your significant other to fulfill that emptiness that you have inside. That's something you got to figure out on your own. That's another reason, another way for you to end up a good relationship, or somebody that actually really loves you and really cares about you and really wants to be with you, because you put them all the responsibility of your happiness on them. They got to worry about being happy themselves too. So I think that's something that we definitely have to work on. And I feel that realistically, this conversation can go on and on because I feel there's so many lessons learned, good and bad. For the most part, I was hitting you out with the bad. There's some good things I've also learned from my exes that I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for every single man I've ever loved, even if they haven't loved me back the way that I loved them, or every girl, whatever. I'm grateful because I learned, I matured, and made me the woman that I am today. I will never regret loving someone because I gave the best out of me. Now, if they did wrong by me, that's on them. But I gave the best out of me. And I think that should be the same way for everybody. If you ever feel that somebody has done you wrong, don't feel bad that they did you, feel bad, fine, that they did you wrong. But if you did good by them, that's okay. Let Papa Dios take care of them. Let them, let God handle that. You did the right thing. So with that being said, there's so many lessons learned from my exes. There's so many more things I'm sure I will learn. Right now, I just recently learned a lot of things from my ex. But
oh boy, hey, never blame someone else for the road you're on.
But I am grateful for every single experience, good or bad. I am grateful for every lesson, because just because I said lesson, it don't mean that it's bad. I'm grateful for everything. If you hadn't gone through all the things you've gone through in life, you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't be where you are today. So you got to look at it that way. Alex, this has been so good. I must admit.
Always.
This has been so good. It's been interesting. It made me laugh. It made me think. It made me actually want to keep asking myself some of these questions, because a lot of times these type of conversations are very self-healing, to hear yourself out loud express certain things. So thank you so much.
No problem. That's what I'm here for, Come up with ideas together and we serenade our audience.
Yeah, and if you guys can relate to today's topic, I definitely want to learn and know on exactly Amara on Instagram and on Twitter, what lessons have you learned from your ex? What did your ex taught you that you'll always carry that with you, or that you feel like, damn it, if it wasn't because of this experience that I had, I would have never done this, or whatever the case may be. I definitely want to know So go leave some comments there. And you can also leave some comments at the YouTube channel. Go on the search bar and write exactly Amara or Amara la Negra. And you can see all the behind the scenes of this actual podcast. But with that being said, thank you everyone for joining me. And remember to follow Exactly Amara and my Cultura podcast on Instagram. You can also watch the podcast, como ya les dije, en the YouTube channel. Ahí es donde la cosa se pone buena. Y this has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. And for more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast show. Así que ya ustedes saben, mi gente bella. Thank you so much, Alex. I shall see you soon, everybody. Gang, gang, gang. See you next Thursday. Exactly, Amara.